this channel again. Today I'll be reviewing one of my favorite books. I'm pretty sure it's the first ever book that I gave a 5-star to, so I'm really excited to share it with you guys. Now this is going to be translated in Portuguese, and I don't know the correct translation to English because it's written in another language originally. With that being said, my first ever manga. The English translation is My Husband is Sleeping in the Freezer by Yazuki and Takara. There you go. This is the book. And I think I should start by explaining how I got it, because I got it for free. I did my internship in a organization for victims. One of the main that the organization gets is from domestic violence. And kind of every week gave us something. And that week was this manga, which depicts the life of a victim of domestic violence by her partner, in this case husband, I believe. The manga starts with the main character realizing that she is being a victim of domestic violence and that she cannot hold on anymore in the marriage, that relationship, but also that she is stuck with this person, which is a thought that's very normal for victims of this abuse. It's contradicting to them because they love them, but they also cannot hold on. They feel tired, fatigued about being in this relationship, and it's something that's very usual. We see a lot in in the legal world of victims. In general, but mainly in domestic violence, whether it be by partners or other intimate relationships. That's why in psychology we call it intimate relationship violence. In this book, it's also this female being stuck is very heightened by the individual's specific culture and society view on divorce. It's a very good depiction of what domestic violence is. In the manga, she ends up killing a partner and putting him in a couple places, but at the end she puts him in the freezer. A few, I believe, hours later, he comes back. And obviously in that state, she's like, what's going on? How did this happen? Because I know I killed him. I know I put him there. Why is he here? Which obviously leaves her feeling terrified about her future, because if he's back to life, then he knows that I killed him, so this is going to make it worse. Which is also why victims are mostly afraid of letting people know about their situation, because they're always terrified of the return of that violence. So when I started reading the manga, I was heavy based, because all the mangas that I know of are very action based and fantasy like, which is not really something that I like in pictures. To me, it's difficult to be able to see, especially because they are black and white. It's difficult for me to be able to discern what's going on. So I was kind of intimidated to be like, okay, I'm going to read this, but I was 1 foot out of the door. I started reading and I was like, I'm not able to put this down. I can't put this down because this. Yeah, so I read this in 3 days. It was unexpected, maybe because of my bias. I was like, might not, But then I kept reading and kept reading. Also, it was really exciting to be able to figure out how a manga is actually read. I obviously already knew kind of overall, but then actually reading and actually learning was interesting also. The main character was really portrayed within the space of a victim, and the mindset. She felt real because everything that was happening to her in her mind and how she was expressing herself was very realistic to victims in general, not just domestic violence, but also in general. It was also written in a way that you could empathize with her and her feelings of being terrified and scared and like confusion. I would recommend this to people that don't really know the reality of what it feels like, because it can open up the minds of the people that don't agree with or don't believe the victims. I think it explains really well. Being with pictures can really help someone experience it in a third person view, but also how these people can and will adapt to survive these situations. I don't really fault the victim for believing what she did was correct. After years of being a victim of any type of crime, it kind of gets into your skin, and your body being in a constant state of stress and cortisol release and the decrease of happy hormones, serotonin, dopamine, really affects how someone sees themselves, the road, and their situation. But that is also why I would not recommend this manga to young individuals. I would say preteens below. I think teenagers can understand slightly better, but only teenagers who have the critical thinking necessary to be okay. But maybe there's another alternative. This also being said, I do not believe people who have been going through this situation should read this manga, mostly because it can give an impression that killing their partner or the person that they are going through this is the only solution, because there are many ways that you can be helped. And I know that those alternatives are really scary. To be able to go somewhere, sit down, talk to someone, I know it's terrifying. I know. I've been always on the side of listening, and people always told me it's terrifying to be here because I don't know if I can go home. But you should also know that in those situations where the risk is high, we do have protocols that we can help you be safe. If you are in one of these situations, you can call this number anywhere in Europe, and it will connect you to an organization of the country that you are in. I do recommend it. I did give it 5 stars, and now I'm looking for another of this type, please and thank you. That is it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and if you did, subscribe down below or give it a like. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.